Where do I belong? Who is my tribe? Do I feel like I belong to my family? Where do you belong? Where do you feel like you're with your tribe? This pursuit of finding a place to belong is a lifelong pursuit that humans have here on Earth. And we're going to talk about that now. It's actually attributed to a lot of the problems that we have here on Earth, a lot of the distension. But we're going to talk about that today on Elevate, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Network Radio Network. Stay tuned. Welcome to Elevate, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. I'm KAren Swain, your host, and you're listening on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 and 105.3 FM, syndicated radio all over the world. Hello, and welcome to another show, Elevating Consciousness with the gorgeous Kristen Mismatch. The gorgeous KAren Swain.
So, a couple of babes. We're a couple of babes.
So Kristen and I have been yakking away about all sorts of things already. We've already solved all the problems of the world. But yeah, we touched on this subject last week when we talked about woke. You know, what is woke? And I said something that was quite profound. It's often profound things fly out of my mouth. It's never really me. It's always the mob, the guides speaking through me, and I always go, oh, that really makes sense. I love that. But it just looks like me because I don't sort of stop and say, okay, now I'm channeling. It just happens spontaneously. Talked about how belonging can create a lot of problems in our world. I think can create a lot of problems in our world. And yet we seek it, don't we? We seek that feeling of belonging. Like, who is my tribe? Where is my soul family? Where is my soul mate? Where is my twin flame? Like, where's Kristen's rolling her eyes. We're seeking this belonging. And Kristen has a great story about this because you used to belong to a big church, which takes up pretty much the whole of the city that you grew up in. Like, everyone belongs to that church. And so when you step outside of that belonging, all sorts of things arise. What do you reckon, Kristen?
Yeah, well, I didn't actually grow up here, but I moved here in my early 20s, met and married the man of my dreams, and we decided to, he was from here, so we built our life here, and I've been here for 30 years, which is way longer than I thought, but I did grow up in that faith my whole life, and wherever we lived in the country, me and the family that I grew up in, that was our community, was that church. And then when I moved here and raised my kids, I mean, it's depending on where you live in Utah, it's at least 50% Mormon, up to 80% Mormon, the population. And so when I left the church, I mean, I left all my friends behind, almost all of them.
Right.
My whole community,
Yeah. It's a huge question, and it's a question that I receive a lot from my clients. They say that I'm into this spiritual stuff, but none of my friends are, and none of my family is. So I don't feel like I belong. I don't feel like I belong here on Earth. I come from another planet. We're constantly seeking this reunification, reuniting with the energy of feeling like you belong. And I want to say hey to the luscious ladies online. The beautiful Heidi, she says you both are such beautiful souls.
Aww,
thank you, darling one.
Thank you.
And Aussie S5J. Hey, Aussie S5J. What's your real name? Good morning from Australia. And the gorgeous Shirley from Canada. We've got Boulder, Colorado. We've got Australia online. Love this. I'm a very multicultural gal. I love speaking to people. Like, I don't even feel like I belong to my sex or to my country or to my religion or to my ideology or spiritual understanding. Like, I just don't feel like I fit into some slot because I fit into all of it and none of it. I remember being at school thinking about this when I was in junior school. I was in the car one day talking to my dad, who'd picked me up because I'm too young to catch the bus at this stage. Picked me up from school, asking about, how do I get popular, Dad? You know, I want to be one of the I want to fit in with the popular kids. Like contemplating that belonging. Like,
Yep.
movies are made about it, TV shows are made about it. You know, the teen. We think about this as sort of as young teens, like fitting in with the crowd and the popular kids and the geeky kids, and we're compartmentalizing different ideologies all the time. From who do I belong to? Ozzy says, "What's your name?" Oh, Jen. Oh, hi, Jen. Okay, there you are, Jen. She's felt the same. Yeah, and I remember as a young kid wanting to be popular. Like I had a good friend, who died a couple of years ago, who was really, really popular. She was little, she was cute, she was gorgeous, and she just radiated this energy, and everyone wanted to be her friend, including me. I just adored her. Anyway, and I remember thinking I didn't fit into any of the groups or the niches or the cliques, that I could move between them. I could move between and I could fit into all of them. I remember this as a kid in school. Like I didn't associate or identify with any one clique or group. Like, yeah, I get what you can say. We've just had this discussion, right? I'm on both sides. I can see the good and the bad, or the right and the wrong on both sides of the camp. It's a bit of a Libran thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like that when I was young as well. So maybe that's a trait of us people who live a more spiritual life. I don't know.
Aliens.
I do. Yeah. I remember being like in like 6th and 7th grade, so like age 12, 13, and having discussions with my friends, like, how do we get popular? How do we be in the popular crowd? And then add another year to that. And I watched that friend always try to be in the popular crowd all through high school until we were 18 or 19. And she's still kind of the same, honestly. But I remember going, wait a minute, it's boring. And there's this other group over here that I like, and there's this group over here that I like. So I fit in all over the place. And if I got in a fight with one of my group of girlfriends, I had a whole bunch of other people I could go sit and have lunch with. And, like, because I actually feel better talking about being a member of that church when I was a Mormon mom, like running the household, staying at home, a stay-at-home mom, and being with the people in my church, and I fit right into this place. I felt such a phony, and it was uncomfortable because I was like, this is so weird to be a part of the main crowd. Like, this is weird. Like, that's what I remember. So it was actually uncomfortable for me to be part of the main
crowd. That's because you're an alien, darling, like me, and everyone else is online. Heidi says the same. She says she felt the same. She goes, yeah, Karen, I felt the same. Could be friends with all circles. But then she says also, and this is also a very starseed thing to say, but never really felt like I belong. It was odd. And Aussie girl Jen says, yes, I would slide into all groups and still didn't feel a part of any of them. I didn't want to be popular. I just wanted to find my tribe. It is a lifelong quest for humans here on Earth.
Yeah.
And Michael Tamura discussed this on one of our shows, and just, honed it right back to who we are as spiritual beings. Basically, we don't come from Earth. All the people say, I'm an empath, I'm a starseed, I'm a this, I'm a that. That's why I feel like I don't belong here on Earth. But the truth is that nobody belongs here on Earth. We come from a realm of pure positive energy, and we come into this dense, polarized environment. And there is always this feeling of not belonging because we don't come from here. This is not our home, as you know. The NDEs, when they die, the people when they die or have astral out-of-body experiences, meet that energy where they say often, I felt like I belonged, I was home. I never felt that feeling of belonging before. I was home, I belonged, I was home, I belong. So what are the girls saying that too?
They're just saying hello to each other.
So but and the trick is not the right word. The lesson, the evolutionary lesson here on Earth is to come from another place, to inherently know that you don't come from Earth and that you don't belong here, and yet find that sense of belonging anyway. And as we've all discussed in the chat, being able to not just find a group where they think the same, they look the same, and now I feel like I belong, not just one group, but belonging to every group and no group, and seeing the Leela, the dance of life as it is here on Earth, and belonging to yourself. So last week after the show, after we talked about woke, Kristen and I were yakking afterwards, and Kristen sent me, we were talking about the Mormon church because, you know, it's a big story, especially in your part of the world, in that Utah, Salt Lake City part of the world, where the majority of the population belong to one church. And she sent me this beautiful video of this guy. What was his name again? Kyson Dana.
Kyson Dana is probably
Dana.
how you pronounce it.
Yeah, and he speaks about leaving the Mormon church, and he spoke about this. It inspired me to want to talk about this when I watched his video. He spoke about this so beautifully. Let me just see if I can share my screen. Leaving the dark side of the Mormon mission. Hang on, here we go. Leaving the Mormon church. Okay, can we see that? Let me just expand the screen here and play this little bit of what he says at the beginning. I'd tell anyone to go and watch his videos. They're so beautifully done.
For as long as I can remember, I belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was a Mormon.
Internet.
It was my home, my identity, and my whole world. But as I neared 30, the ground beneath that world began to crack. And I no longer believed. I was left with a choice. Should I stay where I belonged? Or should I follow what feels most true? Even if it means walking away alone. My name is Kyson, and you're watching Second Nature. And this is my search for belonging.
So I thought I'd just play that because I thought it was so beautifully done. His videos are so done. And my internet keeps what's happening here. Here we go. I'm back.
I think if you download it and then just play a downloaded version, it might be easier next time. But I mean, watching his videos, you know, bring back like shocking memories for me, because like the little children singing in the background, that's a song that I sung from as little as I can remember. And I'm 20 years older than this kid. I'm 20 years older than this kid, and I know that song by heart.
Yeah,
you know, because it's ingrained in, and it creates this bubble to make us feel like we can't leave. And the way that it's structured, it creates that separation from ourself to God, or to our congregation, or to, you know, the leaders in our church and everything. And it's such a separation from myself that, like I get all, I don't want to get sucked back in.
You know, like Kristen and I have two very different stories. She grew up in this staunch religion. I had no religion. My parents, I said, what am I going to do about this religion stuff, Mum? And she said, just ignore it, darling. That was my religious upbringing. So we have two different ideas, but I feel like institutions, religious included, they understand that humans have this eternal search for belonging, and they play on that, right? They play on that. And what Kyson says in his videos is the most important thing to him was his family and belonging to a family. And the church offered another family. And you belong to your family, but you belong to our family, and you're part of our family. You belong. And yeah, and because you belong, now you have to do everything I say. And, you know, he just exposes all this stuff in his absolutely brilliant videos. I just,
oh yeah,
anyone go and, you know, check out KAren. I'll post the link in the comments underneath. Not in the live chat. I'll post them in the comments on the recorded part of this video. But yeah, you can look him up on YouTube or anyway on a search engine. Yeah, so I think that this search for belonging is creating a lot of the distension, a lot of the opposition we have in our world. You know, I belong to the LGBTQ thing and I don't belong to them, and I belong to this political party and I don't belong to them. So if you align yourself with a certain ideology or group, now the other group which has opposing opinions is wrong. And this is what's happened, especially in America, happens all over the world, but especially in America with the political parties. People hate each other over a political ideology.
Yep.
It's yeah. And because I belong to this side, my father was like that. Here in Australia, we call them the Liberals, which, as I say, is the opposite to America. They are the Conservative Party. He was
that is different.
It is completely different, but he was a staunch Liberal voter, Conservative voter, and he would never vote. He would never even question voting for the other side, and he brought us up like that. But I wasn't one of these people. I'm an alien here on Earth, just like you, Kristen, and everybody else in the chat, Mish included, and Leslie. Hey, Mish and Leslie there. And I just it didn't persuade me to vote just because my father, because I became a teenager and rebelled against everything. And then I looked at the political parties and I just decided none of them were worth voting for. But even now, because we have to vote in Australia, they fine you if you don't. And so when I do go to the polling booth, I'll change sides. I'll vote for this person and that person, because every group is aligned to what either, I don't know if it's the same in the States, but if you vote for some random, you know, the fishing party or the horses party or the Clean Up Australia party or whatever party you vote for, it is aligned to either one side. So you're always voting for one side, Labor or Liberal. And yeah, and it always changes. Like I never vote for just the one because, yeah, I don't sort of belong.
In an odd way, that is. I mean, the way that you're explaining it and the way I'm viewing it is that it's taking away your autonomy. Like it's taking away your sense of self. You have to vote, so you have to choose one side or the other. That's so odd, you know. I mean, here I don't declare either side, and I just say I'm independent because I do, like you, I see good and bad on both sides. So, you know, it's challenging, but I don't have to claim, I don't have to vote, but I choose to, you know. But I, you know, I'll be like, oh, is it a woman? I'll vote for her.
Is it a woman? But funnily enough, I don't even feel.
Sure, I'll vote for that. No, I
don't even feel like I belong to like womankind either. A lot of my friends here in Australia have women's groups all the time and invite me, and I think, no, I don't want to go to women's groups. I want to be amongst men and women. I want to be amongst everyone. Like I don't want to just gather just women. I mean, it is fun, and I do hang out with a lot of women a lot of the time. But I just want everyone to be, I'm very inclusive. It's a real alien thing. Mish says here, Mish, I don't know if you were on right at the beginning. Where did I just brought it up before? Where is it now? I've lost it. G'day, KAren and Kristen, driving, listening. Yeah, here it is. Driving and listening. And she said, just like everyone said here, listening, but I have never belonged, even don't fit into my family. And we were talking about that and saying that that's the cry of the starseed, or the empath or the spiritual person, that they don't feel like they belong even to the human race or to even their family. And Michael Tamura was pointing out on one of the sessions we had with him before he left his body. Hello, Michael. He's here. That we don't belong here on Earth because we belong to that place of pure positive energy. We belong to the divine, the holy, the other side, whatever you want to call it, heaven, soul, God.
I got really excited when you were chatting about going to these women groups and you bring up the word divine. And I'm getting exhausted of, oh, the divine feminine, awaken the divine feminine in you, and oh, you have these divine masculine traits, and the divine masculine, and I'm like, can we just say we're divine? We're divine.
Yeah, that's right. You've said this before. You've got that beyond.
And can we just celebrate it all? And
Yes, celebrate it all.
because you know, I come across women, and I don't know if it's the culture in where, because Utah is very conservative women, like it's one of the lowest in the states on equality for women. But I'll go to some of these things that are women centered, and they're talking about the divine feminine, and women will get up to share, and they'll be like, oh, I was getting really decisive and really like planning everything, and I was so in my masculine, I feel like I've lost my feminine. And I get so upset because, you know, women are protectors, and women are like you never want to meet a mama bear in the woods. That is the most terrifying animal, is a mama bear protecting her young. But yet they say that the men are the protectors. I don't get it. Like, and the men are all the ones that are organized, but who keeps the home fires burning when the men are away at war? And then, you know, there's different strengths, but I can tap into all of that, and so can a man sitting next to me. And can we just say they're divine? It's a divine principle. It's my soapbox.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
it's your soap. She's on a soapbox. Yeah. No, it's so true.
We're divine.
We're divine. I remember doing a talk at a love festival here in Australia a couple of years ago, and I just love it. You know, I open my mouth, I turn up. What the hell am I going to say? Like, that's the ego me, that's the little me, the human me. What the hell am I going to say? And I open my mouth and I start talking, and I go, wow, that's cool. As I say, just spirit takes over. And in the beginning of one of these talks, they were talking about we're exploring here on Earth, we're exploring separation, and we're exploring it even with the sexes. You know, we talk about masculine and feminine, but that's just all part of the game here on Earth as we explore separation, we explore polarity. And this is something I said, as I said, it was a few years ago, and I remember thinking, yeah, right, to myself, like, that sounds so cool. Just love it when that channeling thing happens.
Yeah.
The higher self and the lower self. I love the two parts of me. I love the little self and the big self as well. But yeah, we are exploring it through our sexes. And as we've discussed on the show many times, often elevated or more evolved races of ETs or aliens have integrated that male feminine, like the greys, you know, what they all look the same sex, and hermaphroditic Ubans, and yeah, we're exploring separation here on Earth. And then the cry from our soul is to find that unity again, that feeling of belonging, that feeling of I belong. And we look for it in all the wrong places. We look for it in societies, in religions, in ideology, in political parties. We look for it in fashion, in what we look like.
Yep.
I was looking at Instagram. I haven't got it up here, but I was looking at this Australian guy from Melbourne. He was a fashion model and an actor, tall, dark and handsome. I think he was Eurasian, beautiful looking guy. And the story was about him becoming a Buddhist monk. And he said that when he was on the catwalk and doing acting, you know, he belonged to the rich and the beautiful, you know, the popular kid. He was like one of the popular. He was tall and beautiful. He's getting paid a lot of money to do stuff that he liked. But again, he had that feeling of not belonging to that. And he was seeking some wisdom and solace. And so he became a Buddhist monk. And he speaks directly to what we're talking about. He said, when I meditated for years, he's been a Buddhist monk now for quite a few years. He said, I started to come home and I started to belong to myself. And I now belong to myself. And he also belongs to the whole Buddhist monk thing too. But really that is the teaching of Buddhism, and at the heart of every religion really, or every spiritual practice, is to come home and have that feeling of belonging, that feeling that you have when you're on the other side, that where you go when you're having a near-death experience, when you go when you connect to your soul or your higher self, that coming home to yourself. And when you feel at home in your own skin with your own self, then you can belong everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. Yeah, right. What's Jen saying here? She's on your soapbox, Kristen. Women are the keepers of the family, running things.
Not necessarily.
Running things smoothly, watching over our babies to stop danger, even when it comes from other family members, or husband, we run the show. Sorry, but true. Oh, not necessarily. Oh, hey, Vladdy.
We all run the show.
We all run the show. We all
I
run
think
our
it's
own
more
show.
individual than just, male or female. But like I said, we're just all divine.
We're all divine. I revisited my favorite spiritual movie. I think I watch it. Well, I don't watch it every year, but I watch it a lot. And it's called Powder. Have you watched it? I think I've talked about it in the Inner Sanctum.
In years. You do talk about it, and I thought about watching it a couple months ago, actually. But it's a great movie.
My favorite spiritual movie of all times. And there is a little scene in it that I want to play y'all, except that, funny things are happening here on YouTube. Hopefully I can get this happening. I've got to share my screen. And he's talking. So Powder. So the movie is that this baby was born. His mother was hit by lightning just before she gave birth. And someone in the comments said, that's why he looked such like he looked like an alien. He was a completely albino, and he had no hair except for the actor, of course, had her eyelashes, which made him look cute and pretty. Sean Patrick Flannery, cute looking actor. But so the theory is that he's a completely electromagnetic makeup composition, and he attracts lightning and electricity, but he was completely telepathic, and he was just like the kids in the telepathy tapes. He was just connected, plugged into infinite intelligence. Call him an ET, call him, higher consciousness, whatever you want to call him. And this is a scene in the movie, but he didn't belong because he looked strange. And it was back in, Hicksville, Alabama, sort of somewhere in the States, back in the, I don't know, it's the 50s, I think, or maybe it's the 70s. But anyway, it's history. And he looks strange, and he doesn't belong anywhere. And people just give him a really, really hard time. They really give him a hard time. And he never fights back. He never, ever fights back with violence. And this is what he's telling this young woman here. Have a listen.
There are people like on the inside.
Inside most people, there's a feeling of being separate. Separated from everything.
And
they're not. They're part of absolutely everyone. And everything.
everything. I'm part of this tree. Part of Zach barking over fences. You're telling me that I'm part of some fisherman in Italy on some ocean I've never even heard of? No, some guy sitting on death row. I'm part of him too.
You don't believe me?
It's hard to believe that. All of that.
Well, that's because you have this spot that you can't see past. My Grams and Gramps had it. A spot where they were taught they were disconnected from everything.
So that's what they'd see if they could. That they're connected.
And how beautiful they really are. And that there's no need to hide or lie. And that it's possible to talk to someone without any lies. With no sarcasms, no deceptions, no exaggerations. Or any of the things that people use to confuse the truth.
I don't know a single person who does that.
Hold out your hand.
So I'm just stopping it there. Hang on, where I've lost us. There we are. I'm just stopping it there because in the rest of that scene, he touches her hand and then they speak telepathically to each other. But he, like the kids on the telepathy tapes, he can hear everyone's thoughts. And she's asking, and he doesn't call it telepathy because back then, we weren't using the word telepathy, or at least they weren't using it in the movie. And I don't know what I've done to my screen. I've lost my screen. But here we go. Open up. No, I'm doing all sorts of strange things. I think I muted you, Kristen, so you probably have to unmute yourself. There we go. There we go. So yeah, he's just he can hear everybody's thoughts. He knows what everyone's thinking. He's completely telepathic. And he's listening to all the hate, how everyone feels scared and fearful. And they just hate they're judging others, they're criticizing others. And so he's this advanced, being here on Earth. And it's a beautiful and very sad movie. Oh, I'm going to cry just thinking about it. But yeah, it's my favorite spiritual movie of all time. Interestingly enough, if you look up the person that wrote it and directed it, he's not such a fabulous person. At least he's been convicted for things that aren't so fabulous. But you never know the truth about these things. But yeah, so he's just talking about why we search for belonging, because we feel separate. And she says, well, how can you feel unified with, what did she say, a fisherman on the other side of the planet?
Yeah.
And yeah,
somebody on death row.
Row.
Yeah.
How can you feel the same or unified with them? But yeah, that's the journey we give ourselves when we come to Earth, to explore this illusion of separation. And from that exploration, we seek belonging. And because people understand this, they can say, belong to us. When you belong to us, we're going to show you the right way. And all sorts of trouble happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I find it's complicated sometimes, coming from, like, I do a lot of, things that are spiritual but not religious, right? And so I am me, I am myself, I am whole, I am who I am, and I'm connected. But then I'm also a part of everybody. And, why do I feel isolated, yet I'm connected to everybody? So it's this dance that I sit between, and I don't feel that negatively isolated. I'm actually very social, and I've created a tribe here of people that we can get together and talk about everything we want to talk about, just like our tribe here online, and not have to worry about people going, what the heck are you talking about? But yet I still feel, a little bit, is it isolation or alone? But when I'm just being, just all me. So it is something that I think is challenging to dance between.
Yeah, that's the exploration we've given ourselves as souls. That's the challenge we've given ourselves. Can we come into this dense environment where separation is the dominant vibrational force and still have a sense of belonging, feeling like we belong? Jen says here, do you think there's a lot of ETs living on this planet? Ooh, yes, I do. I think actually, Jen, I think we're all ETs, because seriously, Earth School, as many have called it, is such a difficult learning platform. This amount of density and the amount of separation that we feel here on Earth, that we have to graduate to become a member of Earth School. So we hang out in other planets and other worlds and other dimensions where the feeling of separation and the illusion of separation is not as thick, is not as dense, is not as strong. And then we gradually get used to it. Coming to Earth School, a new soul, I know there's no such thing as time in the other realms, but let's just, talk in linear time. A new soul would not come to Earth School as their first physical or dense experience. They would hang out on other planets first. So in that, where every being on Earth is, you feel that too? Every being on Earth is really an ET, but there are some people who come here that spend a lot of time exploring Earth School. I'm one of them, but I've also spent a lot of time exploring other planets as well. And then there are other people that are here and they identify as starseeds, who have spent most time in other worlds and other planets, who incarnate into a human body, and they say, this is my first human experience, or I've only had a couple of lives. So they're sort of more new to the Earth experience. Some people have called them new souls, but they're not new souls. They're just new to the Earth School. And they can be highly evolved, but also highly traumatized, because they're not used to the density and the illusion of separation that we swim in here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Food on
Well,
earth.
and the key word that I'm picking up on is separation. So like, in my pre-planning sessions before coming to Earth this time around, I guess, and every time that I've come, I have agreed to be completely cut off and separated. Right? So there is that separation, like the veil of forgetfulness, the veil of separation. When we come through the birth canal, like, we don't have that. Or we have it as we're babies, because we know that babies kind of can still see through it or see it, but
They're
we
more,
lose
yeah,
it. We
telepathic.
lose it,
Yeah.
and I do often question, like, is the whole goal to break that down and to get past that? And then, am I cheating? Right? Because I agreed to it.
Yeah, say that I'm cheating. Well, it's interesting the vocabulary you're using, the vernacular. You say, do we lose it? We never actually lose it. We don't experience the veil of illusion when we're born. We experience it as we identify with the physical form because it's on our DNA. It's in our, that's why we say we're activating our DNA. And when we activate our DNA, we're having more awareness and more remembrance of who we are. And skills like empathy and telepathy and psychic abilities, they become more exaggerated, stronger, our abilities, but we never lose it. What my guides are saying, and they've said this before when I had an out-of-body experience and I was hanging out with Shirley MacLaine on Another Dimension. I think I've told you that one. They said it's up to your focus, because I said I didn't feel like I traveled from physical to that dimension or from one dimension to another. I didn't feel any traveling. You know how people say when they have a near-death experience, I traveled through a tunnel and I moved towards. They often speak about traveling, and I was talking to my guides and I said I didn't feel any traveling. I was just there one minute and in a different place another, and they said it's like a camera shutter. It's what you focus on is your reality. And so what's happening when we lose the ability to feel that connection, that belonging, is we start to focus on things, on ideas. We start to focus on our parents' beliefs, our society's beliefs, our religious beliefs, and we start to focus in a way that gives us a stronger illusion of feeling separate. But we never, ever lose the sense of belonging. We just forget because we're looking at something else, so we can't see the other thing because of where our focus is, our powerful focus. My meditation is probably one of the best healing tools we could ever do, because and people talk about this when they have death experiences or near-death experiences, the washing, remember was it when we were reading out, no, that was with Etty, reading out the channeling from the boy that was killed in Israel, Gaza, on September 7th. He talked about going up on a hill in the afterlife and having an angelic presence beam this light on him and wash away all the human experience, like all the feeling of separation or the illusions that we take on. They sort of wash away. Many NDEs talk about this, or channelings talk about this.
Yeah, they do. And it's mentioned in the Michael Newton books as well. It's all over those, that washing away. And you're reminding me of, and I've talked about it here a little bit, but what I realize happens to me sometimes is that something about me, sometimes when I'm with people, I have a calming presence. And I was like doing the dating apps a few years ago, and I would go out on dates and, see the picture online, and then I'd meet the person and I'd be like, oh, he's got a little more age spots or wrinkles than he did on his online picture, but that's okay. He's a lovely person. And as I was sitting there, especially with this one man, I watched his wrinkles disappear over the course of the hour or two that we sat and had drinks. And I watched his age spots disappear. And yeah, and I mean, it's not, I don't think they disappeared to other people, but you actually helped me understand what it was, is that I was seeing them without their fears and their negative, all that would wash away. And, I only went out with this guy a couple times, and And when I said, no, there's not a connection, he's like, wait, I've never felt so calm around anybody before. We must be meant for each other, but it's just, and I don't mean to do it. I just watch it happen. And there's
Yeah.
something about it that, it's washing away those fears, even if it's just temporarily. I don't know,
Well, how we can do that here on earth, the washing away the fears and the illusion of separation, is meditate. So that's what happens when you meditate. You can literally sit in silence. And this is what the Australian, supermodel who became a Buddhist monk was saying. His medicine was sitting in silence. And most people, not most people, but a lot of people say when they start to meditate, their critical mind, their egoic mind gets louder. The shopping lists, the woulda, coulda, shoulda gets louder, and it tortures them, and they're like, oh, I can't meditate, and they don't persist. But the Buddhists have a practice, I did it when I was 26, called Vipassana, where you go into silent retreat for 10 days. You sit and meditate. You hardly eat anything. You don't look at anyone in the eyes. You're with a group of people, but you sit and meditate. Even though you're with a group of people, so you're belonging to this group on this retreat, you don't actually connect with any of them, because the whole purpose of it is to find the belonging within, to go within and find that belonging. And after 3 days of torture, of wanting to leave, so badly wanting to leave,
your
like I was
language,
uncomfortable.
torture.
Yeah, torture. It's like the first 3 days were torture. I started to, sit in the energy and feel the flow of the energy of just energy of who I am. And I started to see past lives, and all sorts of stuff started to come online. Yeah, meditation, I've had so many guests on ATP Media who had said their spiritual awakening or their psychic abilities or their channeling abilities happened when they sat to meditate. Like I sat to meditate, and then this started happening. I think that beautiful lady I had on, who was such an amazing galactic ET woman who woke up, she was a nurse, and then she was a hypnotist. And then when COVID happened, she said, what am I going to do? I can't do anything, can't go out, can't work. I'll sit and meditate. And then she had this explosive awakening, and she realized that she's a nurse up on the ships, and like she just had awareness of her multidimensional aspects. And that was the most unreal conversation. Like, I want to get her back on the show this year because she's got so much to share. But
I don't
meditation,
remember that. Yeah.
You don't remember that? It was only a couple of months ago, a couple of 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. I'd have to find her name. Me and names, I'm good with names.
Yeah.
The Great Awakening. Yes, darling.
Yeah.
The Great Awakening. Yeah. And the awakening is awakening from the illusion of separation and looking for belonging in our own self, and not in the religion or in the Starseed group or the spiritual group or the political group or the whatever group you feel like you need to belong to, like the women's group or the men's group. Like, we're just seeking this belonging, or our family group. I need to belong to my family, but they think differently to me. Yeah, I still maintain this idea that I can belong anywhere and nowhere at the same time. I can find that connection with anyone I'm talking to. I can reach inside their mind and find a peace where we'll connect. I just have that skill of doing that with anyone, not necessarily clients, because that's not the intention of being with clients. I'm looking into people's minds to find where they feel separate, and then presenting that to them. So it's a different operating skill, but knowing that everyone is a soul here on earth, everyone feels a sense of seeking belonging. And then, can I find where we belong to each other, even if we have diametrically opposed views on life, and we can still find a sense of connection and belonging.
I remember when I really was studying a lot of more spiritual things and reading books, Garnet Schulhauser, Dolores Cannon, Michael Newton, but I was still going to church. But, I had a job, I had a corporate job. I went to work every day and stood in the elevator with people and sat in training rooms and things like that. And I recall when I had a shift and I wasn't doing a connection like you, I didn't really think about having an ability like that or trying that. But I would look at them as a whole person, and I would go, you know what? Look at that. She wears that sweater almost every day. She must love that sweater. How lovely that she loves that sweater. And as I just started to find a way to find something about them lovely, whether they had a scowl on their face because they were walking into work and had to get on the phones and talk to customers and but I would find these ways, and it shifted so much in me, and I would look at them and be like, oh my gosh, so beautiful. And these are just people working in a call center, like, going to jobs. And so it really did create a shift for me to just look at him in love. And I'm being reminded of Vinny's conversations and how his guy Drake would say, oh, that's so sweet that you think you're not judgmental.
You believe that. Yeah. That's so nice that you believe that.
Yeah, because when we become parts of these groups and we find, our little comfort spot, there is a natural tendency to look outside, and then you start judging these other groups. I can't sit at dinner with that group of people and talk about aliens and spirituality the same. And am I coming from a place of judgment like that? Am I judging them?
Right.
I don't know,
Exactly.
That's what I work through all the time.
Exactly. And I need to do a station ID break.
Oh yeah, we got to do those.
Get one in. Yeah, so you're listening to Elevate Consciousness, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. Long name, I know, but I love all those words. On the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7. I've done a few different images. I thought I'd show all of them to you. 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM syndicated radio all over the shop. And we're talking about belonging. Kristen, Miss Mash, and myself, KAren Swain, are talking about belonging today, and how that seeking that belonging can be the reason we get into a whole lot of trouble, and the reason a lot of distension, a lot of arguments, a lot of criticism, a lot of judgment, a lot of wars are created because we belong to one tribe or the other, and then we make the other tribe wrong or the other ideology wrong, instead of belonging to ourselves. And within the conscious community, I even call it conscious community or a spiritual community. It's like I belong to this community. Even when we say I belong to the human race, a lot of the starseeds say, no, I don't. I don't even belong here on Earth. I belong on another planet. I don't belong. Like, we find reasons why we don't belong. And as I was saying before, Michael Tamura, the beautiful, masterful teacher, Michael Tamura was saying on our show a few years ago, that we feel a sense of not belonging because we don't belong here on Earth. We belong in that energy where our soul abides, which a lot of NDEs talk about as home. But the lesson here on Earth is to find that frequency, that feeling of home, that feeling of belonging while we are still incarnate in a physical body, bumping up against density and polarity and the illusion of separation. And we've got someone from Sweden here, Helena. Sweden Awakening Consciousness. What are you saying here, darling? Conversations, questions, answers. I don't know, some of it's in Swedish. 4 p.m. Your battery is running out, Heidi.
Yeah,
and
she
Vladdy,
says it's 4:44. Heidi was saying
444. Yeah. Even that is, even that looking at consecutive numbers is a way that we're constantly seeking. Am I belonging? Am I getting it right? Am I in alignment? Vladdy says he always falls asleep when he tries to meditate. Keep meditating, Vladdy. Just keep going. You either fall asleep or you torture yourself with your stressful thoughts. Either way, we can come up with a million excuses not to meditate. Go and do a retreat where you have to meditate for 10 days. That'll fix you.
You just said it was torture, though. No,
for the first 3 days it was torture, and then after that it was incredible.
Yeah,
I remember I was so focused. I was focusing on the ants because we're not allowed to talk to anyone or look into anyone in the eye. And so I went outside into nature, and I just was focusing on nature, and I was just mesmerized by the ants. Like, my whole focus shifted from constantly seeking approval and belonging to just being super hyper focused in the now. And just being aware of what is around me, aware of my own feelings, my own emotional guidance system, aware of my thoughts and my emotions and the environment around me. Yeah, hyper-focused. It's just such a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Grateful for the synchronicities.
Yeah, I want to speak to Vladdy, and you can say what you want about this, but I often like like crystal bowl sound baths and things to help get into a meditative state.
Right.
And
Music.
and I used to think, Vladdy, that I did fall asleep because I would kind of check out, but I started to have an awareness that when I would come back, and I would always come back, you know, about 5 minutes before the meditation ended, I started noticing that I would come back to consciousness. And sometimes, depending on the practitioner, like I literally, like my whole body would ache. And sometimes it was a very gentle wake. And I realized that I'm leaving, Vladdy, and maybe you're leaving
Leaving
your
your body.
because
Yeah.
some practitioners with whatever skills or their way to bring me back, I felt like I was like slammed back into my body.
Yeah.
Maybe in a way like, you know, when you open a plastic package and you want to take something back and you can never get it to fit right back in the right way. That's what I felt like, oh, I just got slammed back in, not gently like brought in. But I think sometimes the meditating, and I've noticed that I don't really fall asleep, in that I actually am in a higher meditative state. And
Yeah, you reach a different frequency.
Yes.
And it doesn't match the normal thinking frequency. And so when you sort of land back in the normal thinking frequency, you could call it beta, alpha, beta frequency, beta, alpha, which one comes first? Beta, alpha, theta, delta. You feel like it's when we wake up every morning, it's the same thing. We've been out of body, we've been in a different frequency, and then we hit the mind, which is still contemplating the thoughts when we went to sleep, the worries, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we're in a different frequency, and then we'd have no memory. We have no memory. And so this is the beauty of having out-of-body experiences, is to be able to slip between frequency or dimensions and retain full conscious memory of it.
Yes.
Retain it. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, like, if anybody practices lucid dreaming, I've been able to lucid dream since I was a very small child. And so I believe that when I do get into those other meditative states, and I probably should study like you, the theta, beta, whatever, but that I feel
don't need
like
to study it.
I know, but I feel like I retain a little bit of what I was taught in that meditation, or what was shown, or what I brought in, because I have that ability to lucid dream. You know, I really do want to study, you know, astral projection and stuff, and Preston's. I have a couple of his books, but I haven't focused on it. But I just feel like when people tell me, oh, you know, I always fall asleep when I meditate, I'm like, check yourself and see if you actually are asleep. Are you? Maybe you're just moved to another. Yeah. And Vladdy's so spot on sometimes. I would think he's just kind of moved to a higher plane. You know?
Yeah, I muted myself. Exactly. You think that you've fallen asleep, but yeah, just test yourself, Vladdy. You know, when you fall asleep, make a conscious effort to, when you're in that sleep frequency where you think it's sleep, because it is what we call sleep, but it actually is your awareness or consciousness just moving into a different frequency. Can I retain the memory of this when I re-enter the frequency of my thinking mind? Like, play with it, have fun with it, test yourself, challenge yourself to be aware I've been in my body many, many, many times where I know my body is asleep. Oh my God, my body's asleep and I'm completely active, but I'm still in my head. I'm still in my body. I'm not out of body, but I know my body is completely asleep, but I'm still thinking inside my body. And I'm like, oh, my body's asleep. I'm asleep, but I'm awake. I'm awake inside my sleeping body. And then I leave the body and memory goes. Like, I'm still testing myself with this. OBE. Yes, Helena. Exactly. OBE, out of body. It's while we're here on earth, it's something to challenge ourselves with, to create, something to create that full body awareness. Penny, what's her last name? I've gone blank.
Penny Kelly.
Thank you. Penny Kelly talked about it when she said to me on a show once, I've been awake I stayed awake for 3 years and I didn't sleep. And I said, what do you mean you didn't sleep? And she was talking about this. Her body went to sleep but she retained full conscious memory
Yeah.
of who she was out of body. And when she came back into the body, and the body, there was this continuum of consciousness where she felt like she didn't have that loss of memory, like I've rested, because she was still in her thinking mind, but out of body. And she said, I didn't sleep for 3 years. The body was sleeping, but she was still aware, awake and aware. She said that she was sitting up on the roof going, oh, what am I going to do? And an ET came and picked it up, a UFO, picked her up and took her to, on board ship. Anyway, amazing conversations we had with Penny years ago. She gets very political these days. But I want to make people aware before we go of the Buddhist monks walking across America, because with so much news happening at the moment with Venezuela, with the shooting in Minnesota, the frauds, the Iran, what's going on in Iran, there's so much distension and people screaming and yelling about one thing or another. There's a group of monks walking across America. They actually have been walking across the world. And let me share my screen. I'm going to try and find a video to play for you. But if you just put into a search engine, Buddhist monks walking across, walk for peace, you'll find it. There's many, many videos. It's all over the news. They've got a little mascot, which is a little dog. And they have their own channel, actually, and they're videoing it. I'm trying to find their channel, but I'm coming up with all these millions of different news channels that have been. So it has been promoted across. There's the dog. Yeah, Peace Walk, monk's dog is recovering. So the dog got hit by a car and he had to go in and have surgery. And one of the monks got hit by a car as well, and he had to go in and have surgery. And his leg was amputated. One of the monks' legs was amputated. Look up this story. I saw it on Instagram, and he maintains his absolute peace in that he was hit by a car. They amputated his leg, and he still was peaceful. He said, obviously, this happened for a reason. Here's someone. Ed and Pete. I don't know who Ed and Pete are on YouTube. But he said, he was completely peaceful about the fact that he couldn't continue the walk and that his leg was amputated, and they pull him out in a wheelchair, and he does talks and everything. One of the monks, whose name I forget, excuse me.
Monks walking across America.
So this was in October 2025.
A walk for peace. A prayer made of footsteps. Each mile is a wish. Each breath is a hope. Each step is a promise that the world can be softer than yesterday. They walk to ease the storm that people carry in their chests. They walk to calm the noise that cities hide behind their lights. They walk for mothers, for children, for strangers who forgot what peace feels like. Every step says gently, may all beings be safe. And beside them, keeping the pace with small, steady paws, a local walks to, a quiet friend, four-legged witness to kindness. She doesn't preach, she doesn't teach, she simply moves forward, a little heartbeat of hope, padding down the long road. Step by step, we walk for peace. Step by step, may anger release. Step by step, may the wounded find rest. Step by step, may compassion rise in every chest.
I got emotional. Beautiful.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one to find. Because, Yeah, so beautiful, Jen. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Thank you, Karen and Kristen. I'll keep going and try and notice more. Thanks, Vladdy. Let me go. Keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. I think if you give up on meditation, you give up on yourself. You're going to find some, when you crack through the I can't do this story, I always fall asleep story, when you crack through that, you're going to find some amazing things out about yourself. Absolutely amazing. Loved that gratitude, ladies. Yeah, Heidi, it's so beautiful. So with all the, the noise in the world on the news about people hating each other, and it really comes from, I belong to this group and I'm going to make this group wrong. So the Buddhist message really is that we belong to each other, that we belong to consciousness. They don't actually talk about the word God in the Buddhist religion. I remember I had a Buddhist friend once and I gave her the book Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsh, and she wouldn't read it because it had the word God on the cover. She said, Buddhists don't believe in God. They believe in the soul. They believe in, who we are as soul, but not this overarching God. And, when we think about God, we think about the religious ideology of what God is, that there's some dude doling out the rules to the game. And the Buddhists say, no, we belong to our souls. Yeah. We are all one. Everything is connected. Yes, Heidi. Yeah. So I wanted to, we've run out of time. I wanted to let people know about the Buddhist monks walk for peace. And I'm going to cry now. Literally thousands and thousands of people throughout the States are coming out to see them and walking behind them. And so you see this huge group of people gathering around these monks in this walking prayer for peace, instead of being out there on the streets, screaming about what they don't want in the world. So I'm loving that there's so many people mobilized across the world, but that they're mobilized in that action for peace. Yeah. What do you think, Kristen?
It's beautiful. I think there is more of us that feel like that than are angry. I think it's just the news likes to perpetuate the anger.
Exactly. And more of us feel like that are angry. Yeah, I have to say, we've run out of time, but we've gone over time. There was a group of Christians saying that they're all going to hell because they don't believe in Jesus, protesting, and I thought that was hilarious. There was a YouTube saying, there was a what do you call it, Instagram thing that says, nothing says hate like Christian love.
Oh, I don't even, can we not go there?
I thought nothing says hate like Christian love. I thought that was hilarious. But it's not the truth for everyone. Not all Christians are like that, but a lot of them. Yep. Big love, Kristen. See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for joining in this conversation. It's an important conversation. Belong to yourself and find your own connection to that belonging within, and then you can belong to everyone and everywhere all at the same time. Big love to everyone. Bye for now.